Hello again, everybody. Well, this is Ed with another episode of Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. Now, this week I'm reviewing Get Back, the Unauthorized Chronicle of the Beatles' Let It Be disaster by Doug Sulpy and Ray Schweingart. I apologize if I've mispronounced anybody's name out there, in case the authors happen to be looking in on it. So this book, it's not the Get Back book that you're thinking of. That would be the accompanying photo book to the recent Peter Jackson documentary out there. But as you've seen in the photos, this particular book right here, copyright 1994 and renewed in 1997. This version was printed in 1999. I think this is a very good and, in fact, even an essential piece of memorabilia to have. Also good research material. I'd like to think that when Peter Jackson was doing the Get Back documentary, being the superfan that he is, I think somehow he might have had a copy of this around on his shelf somewhere. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and just lead you through some pages on the book. Some of the songs were shown in the Get Back documentary. Other songs were not shown as well. Just a little reminder before I go into kind of the voiceover and a deeper dive into the book. Please make sure to continue giving a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I appreciate the current subscribers and any new subscribers out there. And as a little reminder, I'm actually going to do a live chat on June 18th. That'll be Saturday, June 18th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time, whatever it is. But 1 p.m. Eastern Time, June 18th on Saturday. That'll be in celebration of Paul McCartney's 80th birthday. I'm hoping to get some things up where I can have people on screen and not just participating in chat. At the very least, it'll be chat, but I'm hoping for a little bit more interaction on that. So that's about it. Let's go ahead and do a deep dive into the book. Okay, so here we are. We're diving into the book. The first section I want to point out is on pages 41 and 42 of the book. Now, we're flipping between both of the pages. At the bottom, you're going to notice Give Me Some Truth. Now, this was actually later recorded solo by John for his 1971 album, Imagine. So, what would happen a lot during these sessions is, again, they were recording a lot of things, and some of this did end up on some of the solo albums, especially the earlier solo albums as well. I'm pretty sure we get to see this during the Get Back documentary itself as well. And you'll notice the layout of the book, it's going to have a lot of different takes. So the big date, which is, according to this page, it is page 41, 3.66. The third represents January 3rd, 66. I think it just represents the sequence in which it shows up on the then audio tapes. So again, just a lot of material that they covered during this time period, during these Get Back sessions, which were later to turn into Let It Be. Give Me Some Truth, again, just a very, very powerful song. Again, in a very different format here, just about 1 minute and 21 seconds for the song itself. So again, just to point out that they may not have been thinking about solo careers at the time that they're recording all this, of course. They're still thinking, well, okay, we're going to be a group. This could be included on another album, possibly another album to follow up the Get Back or Let It Be album itself. So, just very interesting to note that and to see it, sort of evolve during this time, especially when they're still in the middle of recording, deciding on what they want to do, what type of show do they want it to be. Is it going to be a live performance? Is it going to be a TV special? Something along those lines. So, again, we're just getting a very deep and detailed look, which I really enjoy about this book. And of course, next we're going to go into another future solo song. And here we go. Actually, All Things Must Pass. Now, this is, of course, coming on the heels of the previous page. That's the next page for the Give Me Some Truth song. But All Things Must Pass. Again, there was a lot of attempts with this particular song as well. Actually, quite a few. According to the book, as I'm going through, I'm actually trying to get to the back credits as I'm recording this right now. I mean, there's about over 20 to 30, easily entries, at the very least 20 that I can see, everywhere from January 2nd of these sessions, which were started on a Thursday, January 2nd of 1969, all the way to practically the end, January 29th of 1969, as they're just recording. Again, you get a lot of collaboration on future solo songs. Didn't know it at the time. This is, of course, George's title song to his title album, All Things Must Pass. That I'm going to cover in a future review. Just a very magnificent triple album. Again, just a very essential to your collection as well. But again, it's breaking down, as you'll notice by the page. You've got roughly the date, January 3rd. Got the song title, All Things Must Pass, about how many minutes and seconds it is. And I like how in the book, we do get some very detailed background on each of the songs, each of the snippets, whether it's something a bit more substantial, such as anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes plus, or even whether it's just a 15-second snippet of something or a 30-second snippet of something. So that's just a really interesting aspect of the book that I really find enjoyable as I'm thumbing through it again, even as I'm reading and recording this voiceover right now. So next we have Another Day. This would feature on, Paul. It was actually right before Ram in 1971. So as you can see by what's showing up on the screen, it was actually used by Paul as his first post-Beatles single in 1971. Later to be re-recorded by Paul and Linda. About 3 minutes and 16 seconds again. I know this is also in the documentary. Kind of a nice little snippet of the song. Again, you're getting the Beatles performing on the song, so it's just an interesting little take. But you can already hear that the song is being worked on. You could start to hear the melody a little bit. It's not complete, but we're getting the genesis of some of these songs. And I'm not talking about Genesis the band either. A little musical humor for those out there. But again, just Another Day, great song, great solo single. I think this also would have been a great, possibly a great single or a great follow-up if the Beatles had chosen to do, a different album in 1970 or let's say a 1971 follow-up. So again, you get the idea of the songs that a lot of songs, you'll get demos for something from about 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 years before the fact, with a lot of recorded material out there. That's whether they're a group or whether it's a solo composition as well. Let's see, in here we get, let me just double check here. Yeah, performance stops as someone begins playing castanets, which have been brought in by Mal. That's talking about Mal Evans, of course, the unsung hero. I know Ken Womack's working on a book about Mal right now. Mal Evans, just an indispensable part of the Beatles story. But again, you're getting some really nice background on the sessions, I feel, and a lot of great material in this book. A lot of value. Now, here we go. This picture, I just wanted to show kind of the full page, but the song I'm focusing on is That'll Be the Day. I can't state it enough that That'll Be the Day, it's Buddy Holly's first hit in 1957. Now again, this is being recorded in 1969, so it's only about 12 years prior, when the Beatles are sort of starting off as a group. Buddy Holly's having a big hit with this song. Buddy Holly, one of the first generation of rockers to write his own material. I think the only other ones I can really think of off the top of my head might have been the Everly Brothers. Wrote some of their material, if not all of it, at least some of it, certainly. But talking about early influences, Little Richard, Elvis Presley, of course, the Everly Brothers, Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis. But I think Buddy Holly cannot be understated. Interesting little side note, of course, is that Paul would later acquire the rights to the Buddy Holly catalog sometime in the mid to late 70s. But it's really just nice to hear them reaching back further into their catalog. This is one they obviously would have played as the Quarrymen back in the late 50s, as the Silver Beatles and the Beatles back in the early 1960s. So they're just jamming on a lot of oldies and a lot of different other songs as well. They're pulling some, definitely some various songs throughout their catalog, as well as other people's catalogs throughout throughout these sessions. So you're getting a lot of audio material, probably a lot of video material out there as well. Again, just thinking back to my intro, of course, Probably a lot of it that someday may get released in a different form, we don't know. But again, very top early influence on them. I would argue still influences Paul to this day whenever he's composing a song. Now we go to the next song. This next song, if I focus in, it's again showing the outline of the pages, but the song I'm focusing on is Woman. No, not the 1980 John Lennon song that you're thinking of. This is a 1966 Peter and Gordon hit that was written by Paul McCartney using the title, the same title, definitely a different song. I'll fully confess I have yet to hear this song. I've heard the John Lennon version, of course, but not this particular version. But again, they're just thinking back to some of their catalog of material, and I'll draw your eye to, again, just the page layout. You know, I really like that during the page layout, you know, you're getting everything numbered as best as they can at the time that they had access to this material. Also on the previous page, there's a brief little snippet of a Rolling Stones song. Let's see, Lady Jane, a Rolling Stones number from 1966. So again, they were covering, you know, other people's material as well. I think we get some Bob Dylan during the sessions, certainly some Jimi Hendrix. So all the way back from oldies and standards to anything that might have been current on the charts up until this time that they're being recorded. But again, they're just, you know, in between different takes. They're rehearsing, they're jamming, they're fleshing out ideas for different songs. A take may have broken down. They might have remembered a snippet of a previous song. Certainly that's the case. And certainly that's going to be the case with other songs as well. And in the next section, of course, we're going to get a little snippet of a future song that would be recorded for Abbey Road. And I'll show you that page as well, because on that page it kind of gives you an idea of each date that's broken down on it. So we're just going to wait a second. Let me catch my breath. Okay, and now we're on to Wednesday, January 15th, 1969. And each chapter, if you want to call it that, but I guess that's the best way to describe it, each chapter is going by each day of the sessions. Here we're getting a little bit of piano performance from Oh Darling. Now, this was not released on the Let It Be box set. I'll have to check back with the Abbey Road box set, but I remember in the documentary, there's this kind of really cool echo effect that they're being done. This is the end to the Twickenham rehearsals, according to the book. So basically, they're getting ready to leave Twickenham, again, per the documentary, per all the resources out there that have been released in the years even before the most recent documentary. Twickenham sessions weren't going so great. They wanted to go back to Apple Studios, and of course they did. You know, things seem to have picked up, and especially now, given what we know and given what we've seen of the documentary. But I think really, really a cool little performance. I think I disagree with the author's assessment, though, playing around with the vocals and abandoned any attempt to perform the song seriously. Well, I guess I kind of get that, but in a way, you know, he's riffing on the song, of course. I think it's a cool little take myself. You know, we'll just call it a difference of opinion, if you will. That's fine. That's what makes the world go round. Certainly we get, we get certainly a lot of different takes, a lot of different opinions on different various songs and everything like that. And he also follows up with Obla Di Obla Da, just a little, again, 12-second snippet. So, from the book you're getting approximately how many minutes or how many seconds each song, each snippet is. Again, very valuable information. I think a good, at least starting off point, in addition to any other research or material that's been released since then, different recording sessions, books, and everything else. And here we go, speaking of other artists' songs, if we focus in, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. It's funny how they labeled it that, but I always think of the song as Satisfaction. Yep, it's the famous Rolling Stones song from 1965. Huge hit for them. They still play it in concert. They are my second favorite band, besides the Beatles and, of course, the solo Beatles. No, big mystery there. Really, they deserve to be in discussion. But yeah, it's just kind of, cool. They're just playing a tiny little riff of about 25 seconds, of course. But again, I just like how the book is saying, okay, we're diving into all sorts of different material. So It also has a nice little bit about, Billy Preston's kind of joining at this point during the sessions. They had first met Billy Preston back in Germany back in 1962 when he was, part of Little Richard's backup band. That's a nice little factoid from the book here. And for the past several years after that, and prior to these sessions, he had been part of Ray Charles's orchestra. Billy Preston, another unsung hero, not only of the Get Back sessions and of the Beatles story itself, one of the very few people, him, and I think Nicky Hopkins also comes to mind, one of the very few people to have played with both the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, not only in recordings, but, certainly in the case of Billy Preston, he would play with the Rolling Stones live during the 70s. Billy is certainly missed, a big part of the story. I'm hoping to do some sort of review on one of his pieces of material in a future episode, but, we definitely miss him as part of the Beatles family. Definitely a major loss for music, I think, and really good, just, all-around backup pianist, multi-talented, extremely multi-talented. And speaking of delving into the past, we get Strawberry Fields Forever. Now, this was, of course, written by John back in 1966. It would be, released in 1967, alongside Sgt. Pepper. The funny thing is, on this track, Paul is playing piano. So it's kind of interesting to see this during the documentary as well. It's, him singing a John lyric, singing a John song. And that's the other thing. I mean, they really all admired each other. I mean, if we get past the arguments, if we get past all the other stuff that was going on, certainly we find a story of musicians and friends who admired each other, still admire each other, very much like a family. Again, you can argue with family, of course. You can have different points of view, of course. But you know what? Come the end of the day, they were going to have each other's backs no matter what, even throughout all the lawsuits and everything that would come later. So again, just kind of nice to hear Strawberry Fields Forever, and especially in a little more current setting without the psychedelic kind of flourishes of the original song. And they also even attempted another take at Love Me Do, kind of the song that started it all during the sessions. That would have been an interesting little side project to this, if they would have gone back and re-recorded some of the more recent songs that they had done, kind of given them the 1969 treatment, if you will. It would have been interesting to hear a little bit more of that. To me, that could have been a very good Lost Beatles album, as it were. I mean, we got what we got, of course, but that would have been kind of interesting, at least according to me, at least according to my thinking of everything. So next and finally, we just get to the final day of the sessions, Friday, January 31st, 1969. So the book's just kind of going through, again, just kind of breaking down the different takes of Two of Us, Long and Winding Road, Let It Be. They're committing it to tape, so at this point what they're doing is making sure that they have the tape, kind of everything ready to go. If there's anything that needs to be kind of augmented, certainly they want to make sure they're getting everything right. So it brings us to the end of the sessions, but I really love in the book, again, just very detailed notes, very detailed introductions as well, certainly even lengthier than the passage we're seeing right in front of us for this particular date. But again, you're getting everything in chronological order. I've certainly never listened to the entire set of tapes myself, either. I know there's been various, as I'll say later, various collectors' items out there, various bootlegs out there, of course. There's so much material. And again, I think you could also make a part 2 documentary to Get Back. That would be my wish anyways. Whether we'll get it or not, that's a whole other story in and of itself. But I hope, that everybody's just enjoyed kind of the walkthrough with the book. Again, very detailed, quite a bit of information in the book. And that's pretty much it. So what I'll do is we'll go ahead and do a pause. We'll get back to some final thoughts. And that's all I can think of right now. So, just final thoughts wrapping up. Definitely add it to your library. Definitely good to thumb through. If you happen to have these sessions available, definitely good notes to have. And also a great addition to your library and to your collection. And I'm back. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the walk through the book. Again, I've had this book for a while. I got the book, I want to say, from Tower Records, probably either in DC or Northern Virginia, back somewhere in the late 90s or very early 2000s, when I was still living in that area. Again, just a very nice resource to have. I want to say the last printing of this might have been about 2007 or so. If you can find a copy of this, again, it's definitely essential. It's definitely great to have on your bookshelf. It just gives a lot of good insight and background. Granted, the Peter Jackson documentary, that's going to have a lot more current information in it because they've listened to all the tapes officially. They were able to sonically put everything together by matching the audio with the video. Keeping in mind that both Doug and Ray, with this book, they were able to listen to the tapes at the time. And there's a lot of material that's still out there. Even if we get the DVD and the Blu-ray that's coming out July 12th, even if we get an extra extended cut of Peter Jackson's documentary for the Get Back documentary, there's still loads more of material that's still in the archives, probably being cleaned up and preserved for maybe future releases would be my guess. But if you can find this book, highly recommend it. Pick it up. It's great to kind of, if you're listening along or watching the documentary or have it on in the background, it's good to kind of be able to thumb through and go through different songs that both made the film and a whole bunch of other material that has yet to make the film or be at least officially released. I know there's been a lot of other releases out there that have documented a lot of these songs that have been floating around in collector circles for a while. So that's just about it. I've got a couple really great episodes coming up during the next 2 weeks. And again, just another plug for the live chat, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, June 18th on Saturday to celebrate Paul McCartney's 80th birthday. Maybe about an hour, hour and a half or so, maybe a little bit longer depending on how it goes. But that's just about it. So again, thank you all. Please remember to give a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next video. So again, the next 2 videos, I think some really exciting material to come. Until then, be safe, everybody, and enjoy the summer out there. Bye.